what I'm trying to do is literally show people how to get to success by showing them all that I've done before.
Yeah.
I know people right now are looking at me like, why should I listen to you? Why should I watch your show? Why, like, you're not successful? I was like, but yeah, I am fucking successful. You know why? I'm doing what I love to do on the days that I want to fucking do it. Mm-hmm. How am I not successful? Because you don't think I make enough money? Because you don't see me as Brad Pitt or Steve Harvey? Well, that's just because I haven't gotten there yet.
But I've been outside getting money, I'm on my thug again. Trying to stack a little dub, trying to catch a win. And next time I drop a coupe, it's gonna be a twin turbo. Always been a G, but I ain't never been a herb though. Way I'm switching lanes and shit.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Mentality Podcast. We are here in the Biz Inc. I got Papo Taco with me and the Birdman, a.k.a. Chef Brad.
Birdman.
Back for the second time, man.
Thank you for having me again.
Good to have you, bro. Excited to dive back in with you, man. Our first episode that we did with you was a really good one. Yeah. We were at 4 that day for those couple episodes that we recorded with the Stanton Bowery group. And we just had a really good conversation, dude. You know, like you and I at that point had known each other for a while, but hadn't like sat down and had a real conversation probably our whole time knowing each other.
Facts,
other than like, you know, passing at Kachina and shit like that. So it was really cool to get to know you a little deeper, and then since then we've gotten to see each other quite a bit. You've come and gotten tattooed. We started working on the leg sleeve.
Yeah.
And then I was able to go on your podcast, Life Choices, a couple weeks ago. That episode just dropped on the 25th. It's out now. So if you guys haven't watched that episode with me and Brad on his podcast, Life Choices, please go watch it. We'll throw a link in the description and a thumbnail up on the screen.
Awesome.
But so talk to me a little bit about that, man, because I know last time we had you, we talked about Life Choices. That isn't necessarily a new company for you,
right?
But it seems like you've undergone a little bit of like, I don't know if rebranding is the word or like a change of focus.
We have done a little switch in direction of what we were doing. But before we get into that, I do have one thing I want to clear up with you real quick. Okay?
Clear it up.
Okay. Most important, minimum of 2 showers a day.
Okay.
Second thing that's important, I scrub everywhere and under the feet too.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man.
Okay.
That tickles, dude.
It does tickle. That's true. Okay, so to clarify, you wash your legs.
I wash my legs.
I wash my legs. I washed my legs today.
I don't just let the soap kind of trickle down. No.
Yeah.
Dude, when I saw that conversation, I was like, no, I got to get in on this.
Yeah,
I got to get on that topic.
Well, good. I'm glad you cleared the beef. I don't know, dude. I'm still torn. I catch myself. I've washed my legs since we've had those conversations, you know? And every time I do it, my brain goes, oh, what are you doing, bro? This is weird. But I still sort of stand by what I said, you know? Like, I don't think there's a lot of dudes who don't wash their legs coming out of the woodwork to admit it.
Yeah.
You know, no one's coming to my side to be like, oh, yeah, I don't wash my legs either. But everyone who does wash their legs obviously wants to vocalize that because there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I'm like, I feel like a one-man army over here a little bit, just trying to defend like the guys who don't wash their legs.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you loofah sponge, body wash, or bar soap?
That's a good question, dude. That's a good question.
I'm a loofah sponge.
Really?
That
doesn't surprise
Irish Spring
me.
body wash, loofah sponge. I mean, I get that all sudsy up.
What's the loofah sponge? The little bubbly
puff
thing?
Yeah.
I got one of those. I do bar soap. I even have these little rags too.
Okay, let me ask you guys something as loofah sponge guys.
Yeah.
How long have you had that loofah sponge?
4 years.
The one I'm using right now?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I change it like every couple months.
Yeah,
me
good.
too.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you already said 4 years. We're clipping that. We'll revert back to 5 seconds ago when he said 4 years. So I'm a little scarred by loofah sponges because I can specifically remember a time when I had one.
Yeah.
And I got in the shower and maybe I hadn't used it in a while. It was like leg washing day that month.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I pulled my loofah sponge out and it was moldy.
Ooh.
Which, you know, in hindsight sort of makes sense. It's in like a damp, wet environment. But also that's one of those things where I could easily be like using it and not paying attention and just rubbing mold all over my body. So that just turned me off to those things ever since then. Now I'm just a raw dog. Yeah. I use my hand.
That's it.
Not a bar of soap?
No, I'm liquid soap kind of guy.
But do you have a bar of soap?
I have a bar of soap. That's such a good point, yeah. we have a fancy bar of soap, you know, like from Lush or something. It looks cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get used. It's just for decoration. It's like the mini hand drying towels in the bathroom, you know?
Yeah.
Like everyone's got them, but you don't use those. They're just for decoration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a liquid soap guy and just bare handing that thing. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, all we had was a face cloth. That's what I had when we were growing up. We had a face cloth. We had a bar of soap, and you just kind of like rub the bar of soap on the face cloth, and then kind of like use that with it.
Yeah,
and
that was the technique in Leon County Jail.
Yeah,
I will say that. The one time I used a bar of soap and a face cloth was in jail. I do recall. Nothing wrong with it though. I felt clean those days. Yeah, that was good. Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up, dude. That was a good point.
It was one.
You were
of
holding that in for a while.
Honestly, since I saw the episode, because I actually care and support, right? That's like my thing. I was like, I'm not one of those people that say, oh yeah, I watch. No. I'd make time to watch all the episodes.
Thank you so much.
that I can actually like have that conversation with
Right,
you guys, right?
yeah.
But out of all the conversations, that one right there, that topic, was genius.
Thanks,
it was
dude.
perfect because it was such like I don't know, it gripped me right away, and I was like, oh, I got to get on there. I got to talk about the shower.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, because it's funny and it's a relatable topic because everyone should.
Everyone showers, right?
Everyone showers.
You also said minimum of 2 a day.
Absolutely. Like today there'll be 3.
2 showers?
Yeah. So
Morning and night, I'm assuming.
when I wake up, like it depends on what I'm doing first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
If I'm taking Sushi out for a walk, which is my pit bull, you know, it's like 4:35 in the morning. I'll probably just throw on like whatever sweats, a t-shirt, and just take her out. But then when I get home, I'll shower up, and then obviously there's work to be done before going to work. So I gotta sit down and get all that sort of stuff. Being that I have a podcast, you know, there's posting on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, stories, reels, like. I don't know, 5, 6, 7. There's like an hour of work just to do that before I even go to my day job.
Yeah.
So then I go to work, or like today, like I'm not working. I just went to the gym, you know, run around outside. Just got AC into my truck. Just this afternoon.
No
Fixed
wonder
the
you
AC,
take 2
right?
showers a day.
So then later in the afternoon, you know, I got to shower up, you know, come to an event like this.
Sure.
And then, you know, before I get into bed, I got to shower again. So that's 3 right there today.
That's too much.
No, I disagree. I think it makes sense. I don't think it's the general consensus. You know, I don't know that everyone showers that many times a day. But I'm in the same boat as you. When I wake up in the morning before I like get going for the day and I like put my clothes on for the day, I prefer to shower. If I have something going on early that morning and I'm in like a little bit of a rush or something, I might skip the morning one. But I prefer it because it wakes me up and I don't know. I feel more refreshed after taking the shower and like. But I think at the end of the day, I almost always do. Before I get back in bed, I pretty much always take a shower.
Unless I'm completely drunk, which doesn't happen often anymore.
Yeah, sure.
I have to shower before getting into bed.
Yeah.
Have to.
My girlfriend makes me shower before I get into bed. But it's because I do
Probably
construction,
smart.
though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But even then, like, I'll shower after work, and then I won't shower again until after work the next day.
Well, again, maybe with it being, you know, you wake up at like 5 something in the morning and you're at work by 7:30 in the morning. So your morning, I'm assuming, is a little rushed. You know, it's not like you've got the luxury of taking 15 minutes to take a nice shower or something.
But even when I did, I don't think I did either.
Yeah. Well, okay. Okay. Now this just might be a character flaw. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think I even shower on the weekends, bro. I just
well.
Hey, some people
To
on the
each his
weekends,
own, dude.
Unless they're going out to like drink or eat like fancy somewhere, they don't. Like I got friends that, you know, we work on trucks all day on the weekends sometimes, or we go help each other out at like we ripped down a shed the other day for our buddy Brian. You know, and it was wake up and go and do that. You're gonna be out in the heat all day. You're sweating anyways. It's
I would
like,
shower.
You would or wouldn't?
I would after that.
After that, yeah. But I'm saying like before that, it's the weekend. You're not starting that until like 9 or 10 in the morning, and it's just your boys. You're literally getting in the truck, going to the house, ripping down a shed. You know, like some did not shower, some did shower.
Right.
It's just one of those situations where you know.
When you guys shower, do you like use all your hair products again? Because I
Nah,
heard it's
dude.
not good to
Not
use like
good.
shampoo and conditioner every day.
Nah, you gotta let the natural oils go.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what do you do your second, third shower? Like,
Well, to be honest with you, like for me personally, because like I cook for a living, right? So there's a lot of grease and stuff flying around, and whatnot, and you can feel that build up after like 2-3 days. But even with that being said, like I wash my hair every night, you know, like with water, what have you. And I'd say like every 4th, 5th day maybe. depending on what I'm doing. Like if I'm working on my truck at home, I'm literally either in it or under it. So like even with the bun and everything, you're getting on the dirt, the oil, everything. Your hands are like, I mean, my nails are still black underneath, and they're cut down to the bottom. And then you do this, while you're working. I mean, I have no choice. I have to shampoo and condition them because hair's all fucked up.
Right.
Yeah.
I just always heard like all those products after like they're not good for you.
Yeah.
I used
Not
to
to use every day.
Yeah, not to use every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't necessarily have like a exact routine. I'm also not working with a ton of hair, but
Me neither.
I definitely don't use it every day, but maybe like every third or something like that. And I'm not even conditioning and shampooing. I've got one of those like 5-in-1 body washes where it's like body
Everything.
wash, facial cleanser, hair conditioner, shampoo.
Do you trust those?
I don't.
I'm
I don't trust
an
it.
efficiency
There's
guy.
one that like is on almost every yacht that I've worked on. It's like some doctor or something or other, and like if you read the label, like it cleans not just you, but like I don't know, cleans
The
linoleum or
surfaces
some
around
shit
you?
like that. Yeah.
That's smart.
And it's like a 25 or a 50 all in one thing. But the problem that I have with that is that when you squeeze that onto your loofah sponge, it's like so thin it just goes right through it. You can't grab it. It doesn't get soapy.
Yeah.
I need
You
like
need
that.
bubbles.
I need the bubbles.
Yeah.
I
Sure,
need the
no,
bubbles.
that
Otherwise,
makes
I feel like I
sense.
didn't actually use anything.
Right.
Even when I grew up and I was using, my dad always used ivory, but I always used the bar of Irish Spring.
Okay.
And even with that, I would just like, once I saw the soapiness, then I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Here we
it's
go,
hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I think there's
different.
validity to that, dude. I can remember having like face washes that were too thin, and they might even have done a good job, but psychologically for me, putting it on my hands and feeling like it's all running through my fingers before I even get it on my face and shit like that, it changes the way you think about the product.
Listen, I love the fact that we're in a time and age right now where we get to do podcasts. It's a lot of fun doing this sort of stuff. Talking
Right.
with each other.
Totally.
But I love the topics that we talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're sitting here on camera talking about shit that usually women would talk about, and we're totally fine with it.
Oh, yeah.
And people watching it are actually either going to get some good information from it, or they're going to have a good giggle, and they're going to keep watching.
Right.
So on that topic, body wash, face wash, separate.
Separate.
Uh-huh.
All right,
Separate.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
So like that, my 5-in-1 body wash probably says face wash on it, but I'm not using that on my face.
No.
I trust it for my hair and my body.
Right.
Because like I said, it's not like I'm crazy about my hair or anything. I pretty much wear a hat every day. But yeah, I'm not using that on my face. I've always been like weird about my face. I don't touch my face. I don't like eating with my hands. I think because I don't want to touch my face and get my face dirty. I've always been really weird about touching my face, and
Which
like
is weird because like I find like those of us who have beards, this is like a constant.
yeah.
like,
right.
you just
I mean, I definitely do a
gravitate
lot
to
of
it.
that.
Yeah.
I'll itch under
Yeah.
here.
You wash your beard?
Yeah, with just like my face wash or whatever.
Okay.
And so now that I do have some facial hair, you will definitely catch me
Yeah.
touching my face in this area more than I ever used to. But bro, prior to if I don't have facial hair, I'm making zero contact with my face. And I think that is just a weird like OCD thing that I have. I didn't have like the best skin when I was a kid as far as like pimples and stuff went.
Yeah.
I was a little like susceptible to that. And so I think I got it in my head that like, your hands are dirty, you don't want to touch your face and make your face dirty, you'll get pimples.
Yeah.
But it's really resonated with me like on an adult level now where I'm still that way. And I'm pretty sure I don't like eating with my hands because I want my hands to be clean, because I don't want to touch my face and make my face dirty. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at.
I have a pump. I never say it right. Cetaphil, I think it might be. Cetaphil
Yeah, I have
for
Cetaphil.
oily skin.
Yeah, me
it's,
too.
It's a little pump.
Is it the green one?
I think it's like a purple.
Okay.
Purple pump lid. I think.
Okay, mine's
But
green.
I've been using that for years, man. A couple of 3, 4, 5. I can be honest with you. I go 3, 5, or 7. I have a thing with numbers, and then I just get nice and soapy on my face, and then that's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
Then I do the rest.
Alright.
Face first.
But all right, so now here's my question. Now that we're in this hygiene topic,
Yeah.
deodorant,
Yes.
spray,
Clear gel.
clear gel.
Yeah. Gillette Cool Wave.
Oh,
Been
you,
using
so you
that
like that gel, like
forever.
that wet stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't do the white sticks.
I do the white
It gets
sticks, bro.
like whatever. Like I don't know, and I can't stand that white
Yeah.
shit everywhere. Sprays when I was like, yeah. Again, when you're growing up, you're trying everything, right? You're
Yeah,
new to this
I've
shit.
tried everything.
Like you're a young boy. You don't use anything. You're just
Right.
dirty.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you start becoming a teenager and like you're like, oh, I should smell nice and spray this, spray that.
Right.
And all those aerosol cans that we had back in the day, I mean, not one of them stuck. But once I found that Gillette Cool Wave Clear Gel,
Yeah.
it's literally for, it's got to be at least for 20 years for
Really?
me. Yeah, at least.
I don't know. I'm picky about the gels. I feel like they dry up and it just my armpits feel weird.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
use the gels.
I don't use
I
the
will
gels.
only use the white powdery stick.
Yeah, me
Really?
too.
But I've always gotten like a reaction. Like when I use the gel, I get like red and irritated
Really?
under my arm. So I have to use the white stick.
Oh, you know what I heard actually? Now that you say that, fuck. And I use this, and it's in the one I use. There's some kind of chemical actually that's not good
Yeah.
that is in a lot of the clear gel ones, which I
Really?
still use, which obviously goes into your body.
Yep.
And the other brands actually say on it like it's non whatever that.
I know
ingredient
aluminum is like a very controversial deodorant
that-
ingredient.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
People don't like deodorants with aluminum in them. I'm pretty sure that's what
and
it
yet
is.
they
I could
wrap
be
their
wrong.
food with it,
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting, right?
right?
Yeah.
This world's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of weird shit like
Yeah.
that. You know, people are anal about one thing, but then
Then
polar
they-
opposite on
Yep.
another. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm a white stick guy. I
too.
can't do the clear gel. And then I mean, obviously, I went through the phase in like middle school and high school when you're using like Axe body spray and shit like that. But that was always
never
like
got into
a
Axe.
I tried
Never,
Axe
never,
body
ever.
spray, but I just feel like it didn't work. I did it more for the smell
Yeah.
rather than the
It was more of a
purpose.
cologne
You didn't
purpose
get
than a
5 women
deodorant.
walking up to you just smelling you.
Nah,
Nah.
dude. You just smell like the LA Fitness locker room or
Yeah,
something.
Just-
Yeah.
I feel like you still smell like ass if that's all you use.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
no way that like clears your stench.
Nah,
you
I don't
know?
think so.
Oh man.
Well, that was a fun start. I'm glad we got off to that. That was not the none of that was on my iPad, just for the record. But I'm glad we went in that direction and started it off fun, dude. That's great. Yeah. Well, I kind of want to get back into that.
The first question.
Well, no, we'll get back to the fun and lighthearted stuff for sure. I've got like some fun topics to talk about here towards the end. But I wanted to kick it off and give some attention to the Life Choices podcast.
Okay.
Because I know
Fair
this
enough.
is something you've been putting a lot of effort into lately. And like I said, your first time being on, we definitely talked about Life Choices because that's
Yeah.
been something you've been working on for how long now, as a whole?
So the company Life Choices has been, I gotta be honest with you, 2018, late 18 is when
Okay.
it started. I want to say I did 2 years of development. Then we have done almost 2 years on YouTube before we switched over to the podcast.
Okay.
And then, obviously the backstory to that, which is, how the whole idea kind of started to happen before knowing I was going to open up a company, was that trip I took around the world, which was in 2016.
Yeah.
So in theory, the whole idea kind of started in 2016, and then it kind of laid silent for a while. And then something happened in my life where I realized I can't be counting on the day job anymore, as like the only means of income. And I had to do something. I had to figure out what that was. And when I came up with the idea for Life Choices and started talking about it and met with the production company that I was working with, excuse me, when they started asking me the questions about like what are the pillars for your company and what do you want to do and all that, it was all actually in the draft of the book I wrote, Meet Me Where I Met You. And once I edited that book or reread it to give it to my editor, that's when like everything kind of affirmed itself, because everything that we had discussed about what Life Choices is going to be about was in the book already. So once we wrote the book and edited it, it was kind of like, boom, there it is. And that was 2019,
Okay.
right? And then we did 2 years of like really like more back end, like, getting the business registered properly in Barbados, getting all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, all the background stuff that you have to do and figure out what's the next plan? What are we going to do with this? How are we going to activate what it is?
Right.
And so for 2 years, we were doing food, travel, and the success of others on the YouTube channel Life Choices. And we were having a lot of fun because I was taking the team. We went to Key West. We went to Hawaii for like, I think 10 days. We did New Orleans, Joshua Tree, San Diego, LA. We were just having a lot of fun. I had an amazing group of people working with me that was doing all the production, all the behind the scenes, the filming, the editing, editing all my blogs that were on my website, all that sort of stuff. And, you know, we launched the party, what are we now, 2023? So 2021, April, we launched the actual YouTube channel, and had fun for 2 years doing that. And as anyone knows, you know, if you're not getting your ROI back, like, you know, you gotta figure it out. And as you guys know, this is the best learning stage possible.
Sure.
There's no point in doing it behind the scenes and like worrying about like what are people gonna say. Oh, you're not gonna work. It's not gonna blah blah. No, get out there, fucking do it. And that's what I did for 2 years. I was out there. We were filming constantly, you know, at my house, food, how-to cooking videos. We were doing travel videos, and we were going to restaurants and doing some videos inside with like different chefs and learning their recipes. And I realized that as much fun as that is, I was trying to do too much.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of niche down a little bit, as everyone knows you need to do, you know, on YouTube. And that's where I kind of got the idea, like, I'm a big talker. Anyone that knows me knows I like to converse. So I was like, okay, well, maybe a podcast might be a good idea. Still based on the same ideas, the same mentality of what, you know, Life Choices has always been about, which is the success of others. And just kind of helping other people realize that it's okay to put yourself out there. And that's what we're doing. You guys do it every week on your show, and I do it every week on my show. We see that some episodes hit really well and some episodes don't. We don't really know why yet, because we're still, you know, we're learning, we're getting through it. But everyone out there that is right now visible is doing that. And everyone that's kind of worried about doing it is watching us thinking, oh, well, they're doing it, maybe I should do it. And yes, you should do it. It's not as difficult as you might think it is. The first step is what's difficult. Right? Is kind of like taking that, we've talked about this before, that leap of faith, you know, in yourself basically, and stop worrying about what other people may think or say about you. 'Cause that's what's gonna, like, you're gonna get inside your own head, and you're gonna become your own limitation.
Right.
And so the podcast itself, the Life Choices podcast, we discuss mindset and success, the good and the tough aspects of going after your passion. And it's there to help other viewers from the ages of, let's say, 20 to 35 or 40 to realize that once you figure out what your passion is, fucking go after it.
Right.
Don't let anybody stop you from going after it. And there's so many people out there that are visible on any platform that are telling you don't quit. Michael B. Jordan, Creed. So he says it in one of his interviews. You know, the reason why people don't succeed is because they quit. They're right there, and if they just did that one more day, that one more episode, that one more blog, that one more post, you know, that door to success would have opened. But they give up. And you don't have time to give up. You just got to keep going with it. So that's why we're doing what we do. That's why we're collaborating and having conversations so that the viewer out there can learn from what we're doing.
Right.
Totally.
No, I like.
No,
that.
I like that saying too, because I can remember my dad renting a place out to a professional baseball player when I was a kid, and I grew up playing baseball from, you know, as young as you're allowed to start t-ball until my sophomore or junior year of high school. And in Florida, there like is no off season. You know, you play year round. You're playing rec ball during rec ball season, then travel ball during travel ball season, summer ball during summer ball season. You just play all year. And I was young at this time, but like, you know, old enough that maybe I was in like middle school or something, playing on like my middle school baseball team as well as a travel team. And we did pretty well talent-wise around here. So like we had a good team, and we would travel all over the country and perform pretty well. But I remember my dad telling me he was talking to this guy who was a pro baseball player, and he said basically the exact same thing. The big difference, like when you see guys who make it to the MLB, which you always hear it with, you know, Major League Baseball or NFL or any professional sport, you know, how small the percentage is of people that actually play the sport versus who ends up making a living doing it. Which I think deters you a little bit as a kid. You know, you could be good for your town, you know, but when you hear that 0.1% or whatever it is that makes it to the professional level, doesn't necessarily boost your morale, I don't think,
Right.
as far as
But-
being one that makes it.
But giving kids that percentage or that fact, I guess you could say, is not the right thing to do.
No, sure, that's what I'm
100%.
saying. I agree.
But there are a lot of people that will say that to them.
Yeah, you hear it all the time as a
Yeah.
kid growing up.
It's like, be realistic.
Yeah, but I also kind of don't like that phrase either, you
don't
know,
like it either.
because it's like, well, who's to say what's realistic? You know, yeah, we have like maybe data and stuff we can look at, but who's to say I can't be the exception or something, you know? Like, I like those kind of conversations.
And you can be the fucking exception.
Right, exactly. And I think we should be planting that seed in their
Mm-hmm.
heads more so than like, well, not many people do this for very long, so enjoy it while you've got it, you know? But back to my main point, what the professional baseball player said to my dad was, the guys that you see make it to the next level usually aren't the guys who you grew up with that were the best standout player. You know, it wasn't the kid that was on your all-star team that was the superstar and shined the brightest. It's just the kid who didn't quit playing. Especially, I think that's probably true in South Florida, where, like I said, we play all year long from age 6 to whenever you quit. And it burns people out, you know, as fun as it is of a sport, you know, and I think we all do it because we enjoy it when we're young. Once you get to be a little bit older and now you're doing it in high school and you're driving yourself to practice, you know, and it's not like it's not something your parents are pushing on you. It's now a choice that you're making on your own if you want to continue with this or not. And after 10 years of doing it, some people get burnt out and they don't want to do it anymore, you know, or they get distracted with other things like, you know, friends or social stuff in high school or drugs or whatever direction you end up going down. You easily can get steered off that path. And I think it is exactly what Michael B. Jordan was saying too, where it's like, it's not even necessarily the most talented person. It's the person that just keeps showing up every fucking practice and every game and doesn't quit. Because once you quit, you're out of the pool, you know?
What it is, it's the person that's the most obsessed.
Yeah.
The person that has that obsession with whatever it is, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a sport. I mean, you like basketball, I know that, right?
Sure.
Right? Kobe. Everyone knows, even if you don't watch basketball, you know Kobe, right? Obsessed. You know, his stuff that's out there to this day that is always viewed by millions of people is the fact that he went to practice before practice.
Yeah.
He was obsessed.
He would practice after the games.
Exactly. He was obsessed with becoming amazing at the sport. He was obsessed with being the standard of what it takes to become great at it. And it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to become a mathematics teacher,
Yeah.
be obsessed with it.
Right.
Whatever that passion is that you have inside you, whatever thing that just makes you feel like, fuck yeah, I want to do that, you have to be obsessed with it. And what that means is it doesn't just mean putting up some mics and just, you know, doing a podcast like we do. It's obsessing over it. It's like you say, sometimes you get lost in the editing, you know, because you just keep going in and you're more detailed. Okay, you want to do this, you want to do that. It's being obsessed with it. That obsession over time is going to get you to the level that you want. You know, Michael Jordan, obsessed with basketball. Wayne Gretzky, obsessed with hockey. These are the people that you like idolize as a child if you're into sports, and you think, oh, I want to be like that person one day, but you don't know what obsession is. Only nowadays, with all of this visible platforms that we have, are we starting to understand what obsession for something is. Because you have you guys ever seen the movie Hustle with Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
Excellent. If you haven't, watch it. It's about basketball.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hated it at first.
I love that
I
movie.
hated it at first, but then I liked it at the end.
But it shows you.
Yeah.
It actually shows you like the true grit of what it takes those ball players to get to that level of the NBA. It's not just be good at your high school basketball team, and it's not just like keep going and playing. It's all the effort you've got to put into it 24 hours a day. It's knowing your craft. Like for me right now, I'm doing a podcast. It's brand new. We're today was the 5th episode that went out, and I'm trying to figure out how to get more traction. Well, my extra time when I'm not at work making money to pay my bills, I'm at home watching other people's podcasts. I'm looking at things like the lighting, the cameras, how they're set up, what's the decor like, what are they talking about, and then I'm going into it even more to look at like the equipment that I'm like getting obsessed. I'm not obsessed yet. I'm getting obsessed because I have something in my mind of what I want to get to, and in order to do that, I gotta go practice before practice.
Right.
It's an obsession.
So at what point do you want to get to with Life Choices with the podcast?
Well, with the company itself, Life Choices, I want it to become a place that people will go to for resources on how to become successful. Right. I want to be able to connect successful people with other people to become successful, because my whole platform is based on helping others.
Right.
I thought cooking, which is what I do for a living, was like what I was meant to do my whole life. That was literally what I was meant to do to get me to this realization that what I'm supposed to do is help others. That's what I want to do. So by having the conversations with individuals on the podcast, showing more people that it's okay to be vocal about what it is you want to be passionate about, and sharing how we've shared, like, it's tough, you got to do this. You're going to have like adversity thrown at you. It's not easy, and if you do become successful and you have more money coming in, that doesn't mean life's easier. It just means you have different stresses. You have different things you're going to have to now like hit head on. You're just going to have a bit more ease with it because you have the financial ability to deal with it.
Right.
But the end game is to help other people. That's what Life Choices is there to do. Once Life Choices podcast gets the community built to the level in which people are really enjoying what it is that I'm doing on the show, and that the show itself is something they want to see, then I can branch out and go back to the original Life Choices, which is bringing in what I do for a living as cooking, doing what I love to do, which is travel both for work and for my own personal life. Because once you become Joe Rogan, can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Theo Vaughn can do whatever he wants. People are going to watch him because they follow them for the person they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using Life Choices to have everyone out there find out who I am, find out the genuine individual that I am now. And I even share with who I used to be, which is not always the best person. That way people can see how you can grow, and you can just help other people get to their next level.
Right.
That's really it. We all want to level up.
Mm-hmm. So going back to what we were just saying a second ago about being obsessed with what you're doing, what would your advice be to someone who, I guess, has found themselves invested in a project for a good amount of time, and maybe it doesn't produce like the benefits to justify the effort and time that's going into it, and you've spent a long period of time being obsessed with it, but maybe you're getting to like that burnout phase, which I think is a very real thing for a lot of people. And I think a lot of us struggle with, if you're feeling burnt out, does this mean it's not the right path for me? Or do I need to do something different? Or, if I'm not feeling obsessed anymore because I'm feeling burnt out instead, does that mean I'm in the wrong career path? Like, what would you say to that person who, has invested a lot of time and effort into a project or what they're doing, their career, and maybe it pays the bills, but they don't feel obsessed and they're feeling burnt out, Like, how do you attack that?
Well, I think anyone doing anything all the time, everyone has to know moderation.
Yeah.
That's key. So I do work quite a lot on everything, and I don't let my hair down to say, all the time. But if you have the ability, because a lot of people, might be obsessed with something that pays the bills and they have to do that, and I understand that. But if you're able to step back from it for a little bit. So like, I try to say this to people, like when they're getting a tattoo, right? If you want to get a tattoo, it's your first one, you've never gotten a tattoo before. I say, draw something out that you want, put it on a piece of paper, and tape it to like wherever it is on your body, right? Walk around all day long with that taped on you. Then take that, put it in a book, and put it away. Come back to it a week, a month, whatever. If you still like that idea, perfect. Go get it done. So if you're obsessing over something, meaning you're really working hard at something and you're doing what is called grinding, you're doing the same thing every single day. Kevin Hart says it best. You do the same work every single day and you don't see any movement forward at all, but you keep doing the same work every day. Take a moment and step back from it. Give yourself a couple of days. see what happens. See like if you can hit the refresh button, basically. Don't give up on it, because if it's what you're passionate about, I don't think you'll feel. You will have days where you question, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because I have those, absolutely. But I look at why I'm doing it, the bigger picture of why I'm personally doing it, which is to help others. And I know that is better than anything else I could have been doing before. So anytime that I have that slight thought, I try to reevaluate, why is it? So maybe that's what I would say. Figure out why you're doing it. Why are you wanting to be obsessed, and why do you want this to work?
Yeah.
What are you going after? Are you going after popularity? Might not be the best reason to do it. Maybe shift.
Sure.
You're going after it because you want to be able to take care of your parents and your siblings. I mean, that's a pretty valid reason to obsess over a job, or creating a job so that you have something to fall on, or like have a financial backing.
Yep.
But I think moderation, make sure you do take time to yourself and with your loved ones, and have time to relax. And if you feel like you're beating your head against the wall constantly, you're not getting anywhere, keep your head up.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. I mean, I think that's well said, and applicable to pretty much anyone and what they might be doing or feeling. So, I mean, with that being said, the main reason I bring it up, and it may have sounded pretty specific as I was listing it off, but Kevin and I were just talking before you got here about, the direction we want to go with the podcast and what we're doing as far as our upload schedule, which has changed a little bit over the last few months. We went from uploading on Mondays to Wednesdays, because we changed what day we were recording. So, there's obviously a lot of editing and behind-the-scenes stuff that goes into getting the episode ready for uploading, which people watching may not understand. I know you understand. But I've just been finding myself constantly trying to play catch-up, and just get myself up to speed. And as I've told you before, I obsess a little bit in the editing department, where we have so much control to, like, fine-tune this thing. Where, when we record, we get a lot of really great moments and really good stuff. But you can have the best content in the world on video, but unless you can keep the people watching engaged and retain their attention long enough for them to hear those great moments, it doesn't fucking matter what you catch on camera. And sometimes that's where the editing comes into play. You have to have little snapshots and the cut scenes and the, those behind-the-scene moments are sometimes just as important as what was even recorded on the camera. I've just been struggling a little bit as of lately to get everything up to, my standard of what I want to put out in time to put it out when I need to put it out. So we've been doing this for like a year and a half, 2 years. I still haven't looked back to see how long it's actually been. I think a year and a half is probably about right. Been doing it once a week for that amount of time. And I think maybe the direction for us to go in right now is to cut back to every other week. Because I don't want to stop, Right. From the beginning of starting this thing, Nick and I always said, like, consistency is going to be key. We can't do it for a few weeks, then stop, and then upload randomly, and then not upload. Like, so we were really adamant about being consistent with our uploading and staying here on a weekly basis for at least the first 6 months. And then at 6 months, we were happy with what was going on, so we doubled down. But now I'm almost feeling like, I only know so many people to bring on as guests,
Heard.
And I want to bring on quality guests, which I feel like we have up until this point. I'm really happy with all the relationships we've made, all the guests we brought on, all the stories we were able to share, all the value that was added through those stories. And we've got some really dope guests coming down the pipeline that I'm excited about. But I also know that, my network only reaches so far, and eventually I'm almost impressed that it's gone on this long, I can't believe I haven't run out of people up until this point. So I would rather keep the quality of the guests high, the quality of the editing high, the quality of the content in general high, and maybe just give it to them every other week instead of every week for the sake of not just having filler episodes in between, you know, where we're just kind of throwing it together. I got to hurry up and get this one done in a couple days. So I'm thinking about cutting back. You know, it's a discussion Kevin and I were having about going to every other week. And to be honest, it doesn't sound bad.
This is what I'll say to that. So
Yeah, please, I wanna hear what you
over
think.
the 4 years that I've been, I guess, a YouTuber,
Yeah.
you have anyone that works with you within your community, directly with your project, is going to give you their ideas as to what has to be done or what doesn't have to be done.
Yeah.
And being that we're podcasts, YouTubers, there's all these talks about the algorithms, and you can go on YouTube and be like, okay, this guy's now saying, oh, now you only have to put up 3 hashtags, or oh, you need to do this.
Right.
Here's my thing that I've been saying from the beginning to every single person I've worked with. I'm going to set the trend. Why the fuck not? All of them did, right? Before anyone told them what to do. So, yeah, at the beginning, no, you're not going to be able to because no one's watching you. You don't have a community of people that follow you. You guys have 1.3 thousand, I believe, followers. So that's over 1,000 people that watch you regularly. You know, one would think if that's how many followers you
Sure.
have. So why not do whatever the fuck you want to do? Just keep them informed. Right? Because no one out there says, okay, this is the podcast format. If you want to be a
Right.
successful podcaster, you have to do everything the exact same way Joe Rogan does.
Right.
No, you're not Joe Rogan.
Totally.
I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm Bradley David.
Right.
That's how I'm always going to run my company. I'm Bradley David. And with the people around me, I'm going to take their advice. Absolutely. I'm going to listen to everything they say. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I think is best for my company.
Yeah.
It either works or it doesn't work. At the end of the day, I mean, the end of the day, as in when you're on your deathbed, I'm at least going to be able to die happy because I know I gave a fucking chance to what it is I want it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you guys feel that right now you want to keep all that stuff high and not burn yourself out by doing once a week, then just, hey,
Yeah.
put out on your stories on Instagram, hey, everyone, millennial mentality is going to be going to once every 2 weeks. No one's going to get upset with you. In fact, it might even work, and you might set a new trend where all podcasters now do once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
I have something in the mix that I'm doing for my podcast, which is going to be different than what I've seen out there. I'm hoping it's going to work.
Right.
You know, I'm just going to a little shift, little something different.
Right.
If it works, great. If it doesn't, if I get one extra subscriber from it, in my opinion, then it fucking works.
Still a win.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I like that you said that too, because this is something that I haven't talked to Kevin about, but it's been in the back of my mind for a little bit, just on the sense of like arguing back and forth with myself on whether I like the idea or not. But let me just spitball it to you guys and hear what you think. What if, and it's sort of on brand too, with like going against the grain and creating your own trend, you know, or trying your own style and not necessarily what you see other people doing. I'm considering, what if we record these episodes, right? And they get broken up, you know, we get the full length episode at some point. But what we see does really well is our clips, you know, whereas I'm going through and editing, I take the best parts or the things that were said really well or the really funny moments or the really relatable moments or whatever it might be. And I isolate that, you know, into right now, because it's TikTok and Instagram, it's usually a 30-second, minute, 90-second clip, you know. But what if you took that same idea and isolated just the best topics and the best conversations in the episode on a longer format, you know, maybe 10, 15 minutes, you know. We spend that time talking about body wash and washing your legs and shit, but it's, you know, elongated into a 10, 15-minute clip where it's that full discussion. And we start uploading those maybe daily, where I take this 1 hour episode or a 2 hour episode, however much it ends up being, and as I go through and edit, instead of releasing it all as one giant chunk, I can just isolate the best parts and the funniest parts or the most relatable parts and release those in really small 10, 15, 20, 25-minute segments as their own individual
Topic.
clip. You know, I don't want to say clip because you think of a 60-second thing when you talk about it like that, but just isolating each subject and uploading that as its own video. And then maybe we still drop the full hour and whatever many minutes episode if people want to sit there and watch through the whole thing. But I think it might be interesting to do, daily might reek of effort, but maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or some shit like that, where we upload more frequently, shorter segments, but also more concentrated on just the funny or interesting or impactful moments.
Okay.
So maybe someone, doesn't care about hearing where the guest grew up or went to school or like, and in some instances maybe they do, and that can be its own getting to know Bradley David segment that gets uploaded. But then there also could be Bradley David does ecstasy and goes to the music festival and poops his pants inside the porta potty, and then that's its own 15-minute story of him just telling that, where someone doesn't necessarily have to listen to the entire episode to get that segment. You get the point that I'm making?
Yeah, it's a highlight.
Chopping it up into long format clips and just releasing them on their own basis. And then I guess what I'm torn of the idea is, like, do I still just release the full episode 2 with all the fluff? And do I do that first or do I do that after?
So basically you're talking about audience retention.
Yeah.
Which obviously you take a look at all your analytics.
Yeah.
Whether you do it every week or after a few videos. You see, like, everyone watches it and then all of a sudden it's like this and it goes like that.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, people nowadays, I don't know what it is with them, but they watch something for five minutes and they move on.
Yeah.
Even my roommate, he'll put on, Theo Vaughn has like a lot of different podcasts and he'll put that on, but he won't be in the room the whole time.
Right.
He'll sit down, he'll like listen a little bit, he'll roll a J, then he'll go outside and smoke the J. 15 minutes later, comes back in. Okay, boom, it's still on.
Right.
So keep doing what you're doing because I think you guys are obviously on a wonderful path to success.
Thank you.
Doing what you're thinking about doing, absolutely. You own In the Biz Inc.
Mm-hmm.
So you're busy with that. What you're wanting to do right now is honestly going to be even more time on your plate because, like I said earlier, I post every morning when I wake up, Facebook, TikTok, 2 Instagram pages, and shorts every single day. And those 5 things, I know people out there might think it's silly. Those take me anywhere between 30 and an hour, 30 minutes and an hour just to get. And those are like 9 seconds to 30 seconds. It's one of those clips. Right. But it's every morning. You got to look at it. You got to rewatch it. You got to stop. Okay, no, that part. No, okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, then you got to add all the writing into it. Like, it takes time. It's effort. So to do long episodes, I mean, people do want to watch you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do. Like, the whole thing is once we all get to the level of the Joe Rogans and the Theo Vaughns, they're the ones that are doing well because they're celebrities. They are people that are more visible than us on a regular basis internationally, right? Much easier for them to get that following for people to watch an hour of Joe Rogan. Now, for me, I'll put Joe Rogan on while I'm cooking at work. Right. I'll have my earbud in. I'll be listening to him and retaining probably maybe about half of it.
Right. Same.
Do the little bits. Absolutely. Why not try it?
Yeah.
Because people like certain things. People love drama. Unfortunately, that's why those shows are most watched than anything. I hate to say it, but Below Deck, which is, not really what I do for a living, but it's what I do for a living. Yeah. Number 1 watched TV show, I think, right now in North America.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you Google that might be the true fact, based on drama, based on non-real reality.
Wow.
Drama.
Yeah. So
if you can find some drama, which is hard to do when you're just a couple of guys sitting around having a conversation, unless you just start like UFC fighting on here, it's hard to find the drama. Funny things. Yeah, people love to watch funny. People love to watch attractive people. All of these are the little tidbits that other people are capitalizing on because they're using that. I'm not really for that. I want to be genuine to like the platform that I'm trying to do, and you guys seem to be on the same level as that. It's going to be more effort. It's going to be more of your time. Yeah. Even though you're taking the 1 hour episode to once every 2 weeks, so you have 2 weeks to edit an hour, which we know takes hours. Yep. But now you're adding on daily posts of 10 or 15 minute videos. Right. You know how long it takes you to edit 15 minutes of your clip? Yep. Now you're going to add that every single, so you're going to video once every 2 weeks, and then in the 14 days in between the next, you know what I'm saying? Now you're going to try and post a 10 or 15 minute video every day. It's possible. But now you have to sleep less.
Yep.
Like we've talked,
Sleep less,
like
yeah.
we talked before. You've got to take your 9 to 5, which is not 9 to 5 hours for
Sure, yeah.
tattooing. That's your full-time job. Then you have a girlfriend and you have 2 dogs. You have your own life. You have now editing. Like now you have so many more hours that you have to focus on that, which is good.
Yeah.
If you're obsessed about it.
Right.
So all good ideas. You just have to pick and choose how many hours a day you want to be working on the podcast, tattooing, family life.
Yeah.
Everything, work, life, moderation.
Yep. Good point. Well said. I agree. And I think that's probably where the argument is in my head also. Like part of me just goes, well, it's worth a try. You know, it doesn't hurt to try it. But yeah, that does involve more time and effort. Which I'm not, I guess that's where I'm at too, is it's not like I'm opposed to more time and effort. It just, it starts to get confusing of what is worth time and effort. When you're doing something like podcasting and social media, and you can post an episode that you think has great content and it gets 30 views. Or then you can post an episode that, the guy or girl just has maybe a more engaged following, and maybe the content wasn't even that good, but they just have a better engaged audience, and that one does 200 views, and it's like, well, fuck, do I put the extra time to edit? Because that one, I put all this time into editing this episode that didn't do that good. So it's even hard to sometimes, at, I think, our level, gauge the analytics, because such a small variable can adjust that view count so much,
What I'm learning on YouTube and being a podcaster is we're not Hollywood.
Yeah, no.
We're not making a Hollywood movie, and it doesn't have to be.
Right.
You need good content, yes. You need good video and audio, right? You can't have the in and out. You do need certain pieces of equipment to make the sound good. You need a still camera. You don't want people watching. They're not going to watch it if the camera's moving. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But there's very few things that you need. After that, like, you put less pressure on yourself for being perfect with the editing. You know what I'm saying? Everyone knows they're watching a YouTube podcast. They're not watching Friends on their TV that's been recorded in a set with an army of people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just saw a tour of the Joe Rogan studio, actually, his podcast studio. It's a massive place.
Yeah.
It's not just that little room.
Oh, yeah, I saw
There's
that too.
loads of people there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Really?
saying?
In the Joe Rogan studio?
Well, like, in the whole building that they showed you a tour of, there's multiple different things going on at the same time. And don't forget, he's got his guy off scene that puts
Jamie.
that puts up all his,
Yeah.
what's that? Remember and Google's it and boom.
Look that up, Jamie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, we're all going to have that eventually, right?
Yeah.
I want to say this, and it's for whatever anyone's doing in life. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You don't have to be perfect. None of us are. We're all learning through life from the time we're born to the time we jump in the grave. We don't physically jump, most of us, but you know what I'm saying. We are all children, no matter how old we get, and we're always going to be learning, and you have to be okay with that. And you cannot put that extra pressure on yourself. So take a little bit of the pressure off. Realize that it doesn't have to be perfectly edited. There's going to be moments where the video clips and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen it in my own videos, and I'd get bothered at the beginning, and then I'm just like, nah, it's a podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Is the content good? Are the guests enjoying the conversation? Because yes, I worry about the people out there watching, and I want them to come back every week. But the first and foremost for me is making sure that the person in the chair next to me is comfortable.
Right.
Making sure they're enjoying that conversation. Like, none of us are sitting awkwardly. We're all sitting the way we normally would sit, drinking a beer, drinking my jug of water, coughing, editing it or not editing it. Like, all these
We'll
things,
leave that cough in.
Yeah, like all these, but all these things are like able to be transferred to other aspects of life. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Whatever you might think is a good idea to move forward with,
Give it a try.
write it down.
Yeah.
You know better than anyone. Write it down, right?
Yeah.
Write all your stuff down, all the points you're thinking about. Have those brainstorming situations with Kevin, and figure it out. Give it a try. If it doesn't work, You have 1.3 thousand subscribers. All of you out there that are watching this video, and then the rest of the 1.3 thousand that didn't watch the video
Yeah.
should be watching the video.
Yes.
That's your
please.
following right now, right?
Yeah.
That's your support system. So they're hopefully going to, if they're really good, those of your followers that are actually friends of yours, hopefully will come to you and say, hey, listen, I watched this episode the other time and I really liked your guest. I found that some of the conversation kind of floated around areas that wasn't really, I was kind of losing attention, but this were really good. Or I noticed that the lighting on that last episode, it was a bit off or something. Like that's what I try when I say subscribe, comment, like. I'm wanting my viewership to comment on anything.
Yeah, right.
Because I want to get better for you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
these are all the things that are more important than worrying too much about, you know, how many hours you're spending on editing. You know, it's what are you doing right here, right now with the people you're chatting with, and what are they going to enjoy, and hopefully they'll talk to you.
Yeah, totally.
You know, that's the biggest thing. Like my very first episode, you know, we promoted it nonstop for like a month, you know, that it was coming out, you know, and first episode, I was super stoked. I think I have like 189 views on it. First episode ever.
Great.
And a bunch of comments. And then some people that don't feel like commenting, you know, online would call me or text me and say, hey, listen. And I was like, dude, bring it. Just bring all that information, good or bad, it doesn't matter.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we're going to get better. That's how the viewer is going to enjoy watching us more often.
100%. Yeah, no, I mean, those are the people whose opinions matter the most. And I think you're absolutely right. There's no point in, you know, dwelling so much on the behind-the-scenes stuff when, I mean, I like the point you made, too, about how podcasts are typically absorbed. I'm guilty of that also. Most of the time I'm listening to a podcast, I'm watching it on YouTube, but I've got my phone in my pocket, and I'm listening to it in my headphones, and I'm not even watching the video. So it is funny how much emphasis I put on editing the video of the podcast, knowing that most of the time I'm watching podcasts, I'm not watching the video.
Yeah.
Or if I am, it might be for the first few minutes. But for a 2-hour-long podcast, a very small portion of that is spent with me actually looking at the screen.
Are you guys on Spotify or Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
both.
Okay.
I listen to most of mine on Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't even watch the video.
That's
I only
literally-
started watching video podcasts when we started recording it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it was just you and Nick, I would just listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't listen to podcasts on Spotify. I
Right.
watch
Right,
podcasts.
same.
Now, usually I'll have it like in the galley. I'll have my laptop open and I'll have my earbud in, so I am like cooking and whatnot. But I'm also like,
peeking
a
over
glance
and stuff.
and whatnot because I enjoy the guests of the shows that I'm watching.
Same.
But yeah, that's something like I'm doing this month, which is getting all my audio files, and it's what is it, SSR?
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting
RSS?
RSS. Yeah, so I'm doing all that transferring, and then gonna load them all up on Spotify
Yeah.
to see if that helps. To create more of a following, because there are some people that only listen to podcasts, not watch them.
100%. And I think you'll see maybe a surprising amount of traction because as a person who, like you, I would just watch any of the podcasts that I want on YouTube, because that's kind of like my go-to platform to watch anything. If you were to just ask me my opinion, I would have thought that Spotify and Apple, there's definitely an audience that listens to podcasts on there, but if they want to listen to mine, they'll just go listen to it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we've been uploading on all three platforms for a long time now, our Spotify and Apple podcast numbers do combined almost like what the YouTube does too.
Nice.
So I mean that's a significant amount of people who are absorbing it on those other platforms, and at such a small of a stage that we're at, it's like I'll take every view we can get, to be honest, because it's just one more person walking around, potentially telling someone else about it, or, saying that they saw this funny thing on their friend's podcast. And for the little amount of effort it goes to put it on other platforms, it's kind of worth it.
Yeah, always. People like Gary Vee has always said you need to be on every platform possible.
Yeah, sure.
That's like, it's 2023. We're currently living in the future.
Yeah. For
me, I'm born in 1977. We're literally living in the future that I was told about when I was a teenager.
Wait a second, you're not a millennial, bro?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're 28.
I'm just kidding.
but the thing is we have all these platforms available to us to put out our information.
Yeah.
But what I think is the toughest part at our level, being that we're new, is getting that following to watch, which is confusing because like you'll see your stories on Instagram or whatever, and all your friends will like watch it and whatever, and then you'll put up a podcast and you'll be like,
oh my God, it's
like,
hard not to get frustrated.
I mean, but you can't.
Yeah,
because
it's hard not to, though.
That's life. That's the way it is. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you kind of have to wonder, like, so I'm a rarity. I haven't watched all of the new episodes.
Sure.
But I've watched probably 4 of them. I think there might be 7.
Around there, yeah.
Something like that. But it's like, I care about you guys.
Right.
Thank you, man.
Like, I care about the podcast. And my one view is worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And even if I open up that laptop and hit play and I'm watching it and then I get pulled away, the laptop is still open and plugged in so it doesn't turn off, so that the retention of the video is inputted into your analytic.
Right.
But I get it because I'm on the same side as you guys. What's hard is for a lot of people, no matter what you do in life, no matter what you're going to go after as your passion, we've talked about this where those closest to you, unfortunately, will not be the ones that support you until you have something to support.
Yeah.
And that's hard to swallow as an individual that's starting out at something. But it's there's 8 billion people in the world, and the 50, 75, 100, 300, however popular you are, those people are not the ones that are going to be watching you every single day until they see 2,000 other people watching you all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't, there's another thing for people out there that might be doing something in social media, is you can't get wrapped up in what you're seeing, because you're all looking. You're looking because you want to become that channel that people are watching.
Right, sure.
But you can't get upset when you see like your friends looking at your story, but it's not transferring over into your podcast.
Yeah.
And that's for everyone out there. It's not just for what we're doing. It's for everyone out there starting something new.
Yeah, totally.
You're starting an auto body shop, or you're becoming a teacher, and you get home after work and like no one's texted you to see how your day was at school. Well, don't be surprised. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you go to school the next day, maybe all your students give you a big hug because you're there.
Right.
You got to think about it that way. There's 8
Right.
billion people in the world. Go after the other people. Your friends will support you eventually.
Yeah.
The ones that are true, they'll be there every day. My
Right.
boy TJ, I was just out of town for a month. I was on a boat. We had to go to the Bahamas, and I come back. One of the first conversations we're having, we're sitting there, and TJ is like probably one of the first people that watches everything I've put up on YouTube. And he literally is sitting there, we're having dinner, and he's like naming off some people that he knows. He's like, oh, I think this person might be like, what do you think about this person for your podcast? Like, he's thinking while I'm not even there,
Right.
who does he know that he can get onto my podcast? Now that's the support that you want.
Yeah.
You just not like, you have to do it. It's on our shoulders.
Sure.
It's on everyone out there that is going after whatever your dream, whatever your passion is. You have to put all the weight on you to get the support. You have to have blind faith in yourself. We've
Yeah.
said that before. And you have to be your own marketing department.
Right.
You said earlier, like, okay, well, my network as well is only so big. There's only so many people within my network that are of the exact same mentality that I have, the same mindset, that would have a good conversation with me for 2 hours that I'm able to edit into 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But how do you get those other people? You got to put yourself out there again. I
Totally, yeah.
got my business cards in my wallet constantly. And every time my stack at home gets short, I got to order more. Because every time I'm out, I don't care who the fuck it is. If I have an inkling that person might be a good guest or might have an interest in my show, I chat with them for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Here's my card.
Right.
That's it. I walk away. That's it. I don't push. I just like check out what I'm doing. If you like it, hit me up with a comment. If you're interested in coming on the show, shoot me a text.
Yeah.
Simple as that. All my info's on there. But you have to go out there constantly, and you have to be in people's faces. Like, I'm sure some of my friends right now wake up in the morning, because we all do this in the morning.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what's Bradley putting up today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's every day. I don't quit. I don't stop. Because I'm not. I know where I'm going, and I'm not stopping till I get there.
Yeah.
And those people that have that mentality in their head are like, oh, here he goes again.
You're not doing it for them.
I'm not doing it for them. Exactly.
Right. I think that's the mentality that you kind of have to adopt piggybacking off what you said, is like when you're looking at that story post and you see how many people saw it, but then you go look at the views of the video and you see how many people actually clicked on the link and watched it. You're not doing it for the 1,000 people that saw the story. You're doing it for the 100 people that clicked the link and watched the video. Like, your why, back to what you were saying in the beginning, if that needs to be what motivates you, your why needs to be, continuing to put out the content for the people that do care and are engaged and do want to watch. You can't dwell on the percentage of people that see it and choose to ignore it.
Yeah. And like I said, 8 billion people out there in the world. Somebody's going to be enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many different minds out there that are into so many different things that it's impossible for it not to work.
Right.
You just got to go after it.
Yeah.
What we're doing as podcasters is probably the toughest thing to do, because we're not giving anyone anything tangible.
Right.
Like you do construction, he does tattoos, I cook food. We're giving somebody something.
giving
Like, if
something.
I only did how-to cooking videos, eventually I would find my niche, I'd find my vibe, I'd find my flow on how to do that, and it would work. Because I have the knowledge and I have the skill to show someone how to cook. And people would gravitate to that because they're earning something from it.
Right.
We're trying to earn someone's time.
And attention.
It's so difficult.
And right now, there's so many things that fry people's attention span.
Well, no one
everyone's-
has attention right now.
Right,
No one has an
everyone-
attention span to pay attention to anything.
Right.
And that's what's
Everything is
difficult.
burnt out. Everybody is
Yeah.
just. You have 10 seconds, to get someone's attention.
Now, if Pete became one of the world's best tattoo artists,
Now you have to.
now your podcast off the hook.
Right.
Even though you're doing the same content.
Could be the same. It would bring more videos to our previous ones because people want to see how Pete was before he was the best.
That's why all of my videos are still up there.
Oh, they have to be.
I've had other people advise me to take them down.
Yeah.
Why and under
Exactly.
what?
Because they have their own ideas why
You want your channel to have a certain identity. You want it to only be catered to your niche, so that when people dive into your channel, they're only seeing the stuff that brought them there. But I agree with you. I think the more content, the better.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly who's clicking on your channel or on those videos, and what you posted in the past might be right up their alley.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm trying to do is literally show people how to get to success by showing them all that I've done before.
Yeah.
Like, I've only been on YouTube for 2 years. Last month, that's it. 2 years, that's it. I know people right now are looking at me like, why should I listen to you? Why should I watch your show? Why, like, you're not successful? I was like, but yeah, I am fucking successful. You know why? I'm doing what I love to do on the days that I want to fucking do it. How am I not successful? Because you don't think I make enough money? Because you don't see me as Brad Pitt or Steve Harvey? Well, that's just because I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Some of these people that are like super famous and super visible, they didn't start until they were 40.
Yeah. Steve Harvey was homeless at 30.
Exactly.
Damn, that's crazy.
He just kept going.
Man, I love that you just said that and brought that up, because it brings up a topic, and I know you still want to pee, but while we're
it's okay.
talking about this, let's just dive into it for a second, because I love that you brought that up, and it's something that I actually wanted to talk about today, is like the perception of success. And I think, like, social media is probably a lot to blame for, like, the core of this problem, and but I'm starting to realize, now at the position that I am in my career, which I still think is super early in my career and also just my life as an adult, So by saying this, I'm not saying that, like, I have it all figured out or I know more than the guy next to me by any means, But just based on my experience in life right now and getting to the point where I'm at the moment, I'm really starting to realize that, like, I care a lot less about making a ton of money as I thought I did. For most of my life, I thought, like, the goal is to just make a shitload of money. And not necessarily that will make me happy, but I'll know that I'm on like the right path, and that will allow me the freedoms to then do the things that do make me happy, you know? And I still definitely feel that way. I think, like, you know, like you were saying a little bit earlier, like the times in your life when you had enough money to pay the bills, it just changes what your stressors are. You know, it doesn't mean you have no stress. You're just financially, that's not one of them. I do want to make a good amount of money, and I want to continue to grow my business and improve on what I'm doing. Both, I think that means financially, but also just like the skill level that I'm at and the experience that I offer. I want to improve across the board, but I care equally as much about not hating my life.
Right.
As crazy, it might sound silly to say it so blunt like that, but I think we would be shocked to know the statistics on people who go to work day after day to pay their bills and be financially stable, but fucking hate what they do for work.
I would unfortunately have to say more than 80% of all people
Yeah,
in
it's
North
up
America.
there, dude. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It would have to be.
It's an absurd statistic. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be absurd.
But again, with what you're wanting to talk about is, you know, the perception of success is somewhat the root of all evil for why people are like that.
Yeah.
Because we are, until now, where we have platforms where everyday people are visible. You can go on YouTube and see so many different people that you never would have seen before. I grew up in a time where all those people were, whether they were newscasters, actors and actresses on sitcoms, movies.
Celebrities, yeah.
They're all what we call a celebrity. And we put them on this pedestal like, oh my God, they're amazing, oh my God.
Yeah.
Where they are no different than you are. They went to school. They perfected a craft, whether they were like a news anchor or an actor and actress, a sports player. They went to school and became great at whatever it is that they wanted to become great at. And at that time, those were what was visible. Well, now the everyday person is visible. Well, now we're trying to break down the perception of what success is. So everyone thought success was, and people still do, lots of money, very visible, and you can do whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, success is more of a peace of mind. Success for me is knowing at the end of the day that I've done as best I could, or I did better today than I did yesterday. I made some money because I worked hard at what I did, at my job that pays my bills. I worked really hard at the job I want to pay my bills with. I spent time with those that I care about. I spent time with myself at some point during the day. And then when I go to sleep, I can let go of everything and know that I've done good.
Right.
That to me is success. Everyone out there will be like, oh my God, whatever, he wants money. I want money to pay my bills, obviously. I want my podcast via my company to be my main source of income, so I can work only for myself and create other companies and other businesses on the same platforms of what Life Choices is built on.
Right.
The money will show up. We've talked about this. If you work hard at whatever it is you want to do, the money is the byproduct. But success shouldn't be about being the movie star. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be. We're only on this rock for a period of time that we don't even know how long. Aren't we supposed to do good while we're here? Aren't we supposed to help others around us? I mean, like if you look at faiths, in all of the different faiths, it says do good unto others. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, then it will be done good unto you.
Right.
Right? So like, if that's what we're supposed to do, why do we put all that other stuff up on a pedestal as success? Why can't it just be having a conversation with some good people, sharing resources with other good people out there so that they can then get off their ass and become successful at what they want to do? And I say get off your ass because you should actually go after whatever your dream is. We're doing it. We're literally showing you that you can do what you want to do if you put in the effort. Mm-hmm. But that's what success, that's what the perception of success should be. That's what we're here to do. We're to change that perception.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree 100%. And I think, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up, like I said, because it's something that's been on my mind lately. And I'm just starting to realize, kind of like how there's two different types of people in the world. And again, I'm not saying that I think my opinion is right. Mm-hmm. I just think there is different types of people in the world. And some people view success financially, you know, and it is directly based on the amount of money in your bank account or what you make. and other people view, success as how happy you are. And I think there's a middle ground somewhere in between those two. We've talked about it a bunch of times on the podcast before, where I'm not like a traveler. There's definitely people out there who I think you might fall under this umbrella, who value experiences and traveling and seeing the world. And again, I'm not saying my way is right or wrong. It's probably leaning more towards the wrong side. But my whole life has just been like work, save my money. And I can't justify a vacation because now I'm spending money to take time off work where I'm not going to be making money, and I'm going to have to spend more money while I'm on vacation. I'd rather buy like personal items and things that I like materialistically to have on my day-to-day life than spend money on a vacation,
But think about it this way. Now that we're living in a social media world, you can take a vacation and capitalize on it.
Right.
Vacation isn't... Let me tell you this. I took a vacation for 8 months. Okay? 25 countries in 8 months vacation. The amount of days where you sit there and do nothing gets boring. I don't care who you are. So when people say, I need to take a vacation, sit on a beach and do nothing all day. Okay, that's great the first day.
Yeah,
maybe
right.
the second day. Now you're a human being. You can't sit still. You need to do something.
Right.
Take your camera with you.
Yeah, right.
Get content. You're a content creator.
Totally.
Whether you're doing just a podcast or if you're going to switch it up and do other ideas during the week, go wait. This is what in my book, I try to tell people to do this. If they don't have a passport, go online, get your passport.
Yeah.
Instead of this weekend going to your local watering hole, go to the next town over and go to a watering hole over there. Or maybe go to a beach or maybe go to a park or whatever. Just one, like you're in Jupiter. What's next? Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, like Stewart, whatever.
Go to the next place. Just you and JoJo take a Saturday where you're no clients tattooing. Just drive up another 35, 45 minutes. You don't have to go to a bar. Just go hang out in a park. Take your camera if you want. Take your dogs if you want. Do whatever mix of it is. Take your camera because you never know what you're doing might be really good content. You don't have to do it.
Sure.
You could literally just go for the day and just have fun, just the two of you. But eventually, take a 2-day weekend. Go to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Or take a long weekend. Just... My thing with travel is this. I don't know anyone in the world that I've come in contact with through traveling who hasn't benefited from it.
Sure, yeah. I don't disagree.
And once you get bitten by that bug, let me tell you, oh my God, it'll change your world.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It'll change your life. It'll change the way you see things, you look at things, the way you relate to things, and it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. I don't disagree. Like I said, I don't think my way is necessarily correct or like the best way to go about living life. But it's just the person that I've always been. I'm like a homebody, for lack of a better term. But no, I agree. And I think that's one of my goals too for like my tattoo career is it would be really cool to be able to travel and have a big enough audience that I can say, for the month of August, I'm going to be in New York. If, you're in New York and you want to get tattooed by me up there, let me know. These are the dates I'll be available. And it would be great to be able to go do a vacation in New York for maybe a month, or some sort of really long-term trip because I'll be, like, sort of working while I'm there, so I can justify it. And, I mean, I just went from being someone that doesn't like trips to now I want to book a month-long trip.
Right.
But I don't know, it would be... I'm not closed off to the idea of traveling, and I understand how beneficial it could be or how just even fun it could be. And I'm grateful for the industry that I'm in for that reason, because I could see my career getting to that point one day where hopefully I've got a big enough audience that follows me that I can say, this is the town I'm going to. If anyone that there, or if you live there and you want to get tattooed, let me know, because this is when I'll be in town.
But it's not just the tattooing, though. It's like your careers individually
Content.
Together is going to grow to the point where you're going to have to go to those towns.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not just for the tattooing. It's also going to be for the podcasting. Because not just are you guys going to become to the point where you have people reaching out to you to be a guest on, you're going to be reached out to be a guest on their show. So you're going to have to go to New York or Atlanta or Chicago or wherever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
England. I don't know, wherever in the world, Spain, because someone out there is one of your subscribers and they really like what you're doing and they want to know, hey, listen, in the summer, do you think you might, I don't know what your plans are, but like if you happen to be out this way, would you be able to swing by and sit and have a chat with us?
Yeah.
Then there's travel, there's work. You're not worrying about spending money on a vacation and not working because
it's a work trip.
Everything you do is work.
Yeah.
Everything you do should be work in an essence.
Yeah.
Right.
It should be moving you forward.
Yeah.
Which is work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I like that.
That's a good view.
And I'm working on it. I think I should be writing it in my gratitude list just to practice what I preach. And this is probably a little premature to say, but I think I've got a trip planned to Tampa in the near future, which also I realize is the same state. It's not super far away from where I'm at
Trip's
now.
a trip.
But it's a trip.
It's a trip.
It's a trip.
Different than where you are.
And it is to be featured on another podcast, which I'm kind of excited about. It's a little bit of a different vibe from what we're doing here in positivity. I think it's a criminal-based podcast where they want to ask me about my criminal history and tell me.
How many felonies do you have to be on the show?
I don't know if there's a prerequisite or not.
You have to at least be caught.
That's the bare minimum. Yeah.
Well, then fuck that.
But yeah, I'm going up there. I think at the end of this month to record that podcast.
That's
and
fucking cool.
I might.
What days are you going?
The last week.
May?
During the week though.
So just before the long weekend.
Oh, is that a long weekend?
I think the last weekend of May is one of your guys' holidays. I think. Like the May long. there's a
One
May
of
long
your
weekend,
guys'
right?
holidays.
Well, I'm Canadian. so
You're one of us now, bro.
No,
I'm not
Canadian.
American.
But
Yeah, I think Kevin's not one of
Yeah.
us either, bro.
we have one called the May 2-4, which is I would assume around the 24th. In Canada.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And it's basically just a drinking weekend, which most long weekends are. Yeah.
But now that we're having this conversation, I might reach out to Reed, who's at 511 in Tampa every so often, and see if just to put the word out that I'll be in town. I'll bring my tattoo equipment. If you know anyone in town that wants to get tattooed while I'm there, let me know.
Well, I mean, you've done all the 1, 2, 3s, right?
I have done
So
all the
now-
1, 2. I've done a
yeah.
lot of 1, 2. I guess I won't say all of them.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of 1, 2, 3s.
So that staff over there now needs to get their stuff
They need
done.
some
So
511s.
absolutely,
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So yeah, maybe we'll make a thing out of this. I'm gonna plan on me reaching out to you, bro.
There you go.
Because yeah, I do want to make that a thing, and I do think that would be like a cool goal to have, as far as like a little lifestyle change that might be beneficial.
Yeah, my big thing is like you have to be okay with the process. You can't be worried about what's going to come. And I keep bringing up this point because a lot of people get wrapped up in worrying about what other people think. And someone watching what I'm doing might not get what I'm doing or why I'm getting it. And that's okay because it's not them. You know what I'm saying? It's in essence, it's for me. It's I'm trying to leave a legacy when I'm gone. Like I'm trying to do something right now. Yes, I want a paycheck so that I can stop working on yachts. Yes, I want my company to be successful so I can start traveling the world on my own dime from my company. But I want to literally leave a legacy for people to be like, but what he did was good. And I'm not going to see that. I'm not going to see the outcome of why I'm doing this. Why I'm truly doing all of this work right now is so that one day, 40 years after I've passed on, some kid is going to go after their passion because of all the information that they got from the Life Choyces company. Yeah. I'm not going to get to see my work done. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep working till the day I die on the company, but I'm never going to get the chance to actually see what my profit is, I guess you could say, for what I believe is success. Yeah. Which are all those other people finding their way and going after their dream because they saw so many people through the Life Choices company start at nothing, get to success, and then they saw successful people through the company help other people that were just starting out and getting them to success. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm here. I don't want anything else.
I love that, dude. I mean, I think with those intentions too, it's like hard to lose, you know, because you're not doing it necessarily for the views or the clout or like the celebrity status. Yeah, maybe the views factor in it financially supporting, you know, it being around in the future. But that's a byproduct of the thing that you want to put out to the world, you know? So yeah, man, I think you're in it for the right intentions, and that is, that puts you in a better position than a lot of the people after the same thing.
Well, what you just said is like, I've already succeeded. I've already won. Even though there are people out there that may say otherwise or may not understand what I'm doing or say this, that, and the other, and that's fine. That's on them. I've already won because I figured out what my passion is. I'm doing something about it. And anytime I get to sit in a chair and have a conversation of depth with somebody else, I've won. Because that person will leave the conversation being like, all right, you know, he's pretty fucking legit. I like what he was saying. I had a good talk with him.
That's how I feel right now.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? But that's the whole point, you know? And then if one person out of the 30 or the 3,000 people that view the episode that I'm on, one person out of those people are like, all right, I get him. I like him. I'm going to watch him again. Come on, that's...
I think when you personally know you've won, you can't lose, right? And I think once a lot of people are so worried about winning that they don't know they already won, that they just keep losing because they think they need to win, but they already won. Sometimes once you come to understanding that you've won, and now you just gotta let it play out, then that's the real victory right there. Yeah, I like that.
And I like that you're taking the wins on an individual by individual basis too. You know, it's like if you can post the episode and maybe 50 people watch it, and 40 of those people could be like, you know, I watched it for 5 minutes and I clicked off. Obviously, it's not what you want. But if 5 of those people watch the episode and go, man, I love that guy, or took some value away from it,
win.
those are the wins that you need to be focused on. It's not necessarily about the ratio. It's about, you know, the ones who did take value away from it. Just like we were talking about earlier with the Instagram stories versus YouTube views. You know, you can't look at the 1,000 people that looked at your Instagram story and then go, holy shit, only 50 people actually clicked the link and watched the video. That's fucking terrible. It's about the 50 people that clicked the link and watched the video. Those are who you're doing it for.
Perspective.
And I feel the same way, like, you know, when I share... you know, my story, you know, of my past, getting in trouble with the law, or some of the bad decisions that I made, or things that I went through, I sort of feel the same way there, you know? Like, I know there's a good majority of our audience that's watching that and can't relate to it, you know? At least on a direct level. You know, I guess I'm hoping that there's people watching it who, you know, can just see that you can make mistakes and then bounce back from that, whatever level that's on, whether it's in the judicial system or not. But I'm just hoping that there's one person that watches it who maybe has a fucking felony or, you know, was just good at selling drugs their whole life and can't figure out what their purpose is now, and realizing that you can repurpose, that you've got a skill that you can repurpose, you know, or you've got some ambition that, you know, that's the way I look at my personal experience, at least, you know, like when I was fucking 16, I was thinking about the business end of weed more so than getting high on it, you know, and I know there's got to be someone who hopefully watches this, or maybe eventually one day it falls in their lap, that can come from that same position where, you know, like, yeah, maybe society would say you made the wrong choice or, you know, you did the wrong thing. But it taught me skills and lessons during that time in my life that I still use today and have made me the business person that I am today. You know, it made me good with my finances when I was really young because I was worried about profit margins, you know, and losses.
But doing the thing that you did, which I have so much admiration for you for doing, which is being vulnerable and sharing that story, not just on your own podcast, but on my podcast, and hopefully on many more podcasts in your career, you'll keep sharing that story, because even one better is maybe there'll be a viewer that watches that hasn't gotten a felony, but is on their way, watches that, sees the man that you've become by going through that, and realizes, ooh, if I turn left or right now,
Yeah.
I won't have to go through what he did to get me to where I'm going. So I applaud you for
Nice,
sharing
thanks.
the story for those people.
Yeah,
I like the way you put that. Thank you so much. That's really good. I hadn't thought about it that way
You might
either.
stop some felonies.
Yeah, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Felonies aren't cool, dude.
Says the
Moral-
guy,
moral
says the
of
guy
the
going
story.
on a criminal podcast next week.
Catch me next week on Famous Felonies. No, man, I like that though. I do genuinely believe that especially in what we're doing, and maybe on a broader spectrum, just in life in general, you'll get burnt out a lot less quickly if you're doing it for the people who do care versus trying to convert the ones that don't care.
Well, like you said, like, you know, a little bit ago, you said about like 40 or 50 people might watch, you know, one of our podcasts and like only watch for 4 or 5 minutes, but 5 of those people might really resonate with it and like it. Well, those other people of that group may not come back next week, which is fine because that's not the viewership you want.
Sure.
But those 5 people that did, each one of them might tell 2 of their friends, be like, oh my God, you got to go watch these 2 guys. The show's awesome. They have these really cool guests on. The conversations are always flowing, and it's all different topics, and it just seems like a fun environment to be in. Well, now those 5 people just multiplied.
Yeah, right.
You know, and then the following week, you know, those people also liked it, and then it's the snowball effect, which everyone says if you just steadfast, if you just stay focused and you just keep going after what you want to get, and you keep working hard at it, it'll happen.
Yeah.
You just got to have faith. You got to keep moving forward. You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
First and more, nobody else's opinion about you matters.
Yeah.
Except yours.
Yours is your only opinion. You are your only limitation.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, they can talk about it, good or bad, and talk bad about it. Good. Just keep talking.
Yeah.
That's it. Just keep talking about it. I don't care if you talk good or bad about it. Just keep talking about it.
Yeah, right.
That just gets it out there. But at the end of the day, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, did I do a good job today?
Right.
Did I do the best I could with my podcast? Did I do the best job I could at construction today? Did I do the best tattoo I could have done for that person that day? Fuck yeah, I did. Go to bed happy.
Yeah.
You're successful.
Brings back what Garris was talking, just stacking those
Stacking
wins.
wins. Yeah, fuck yeah.
It all like all these conversations at the end of the day, with the greater purpose, all kind of like correlate with each other. It's just said differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
the whole point of the mentality.
Yeah.
You bring people on that have the same mentality, they just do it differently in their life.
Right?
Yeah.
That gentleman talking about, you know, losses and, you know, making them wins. You know, you take 2 losses, put them together, there's your win.
Right.
Because losses aren't losses, they're lessons. So you
Yeah.
take those 2 lessons, put them together, you got yourself a fucking
Right.
win.
Nice.
Done, move on.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's change gears a tiny bit. We were talking earlier about how much traveling you've done, especially when you were first getting the Life Choices company started. And I guess I'm just curious, did you ever encounter any like sketchy moments during your travels? I know you've been to a lot of different countries and places.
Not necessarily specifically with Life Choices, but I have been to over about 50 countries in my life, and
Okay.
there's a lot of places that there are some not so great things happening.
Yeah. Can you
okay.
give us a specific story?
Yeah, oh my God, this is the weirdest thing probably on my whole, out of the top of my head, the weirdest thing I can think of right now. So there's a platform called couch surfing, okay? And couch surfing is a platform that you can get on when you're traveling, and people can host you, you know, for a night, a weekend, whatever.
Wow.
Sometimes they'll just, they won't billet you, they won't like have you at their house, but they'll like meet up with you and they'll show you around the city or whatever. So I'm not gonna say which country it was, but I was flying at night, which was that was kind of my bad right there. It was arriving, I think like 1 a.m. I was arriving into town, and I had hooked up with these people on couch surfing. They had some good reviews, whatever, felt pretty good, and you know, they said, oh, the key will be under the mat, the door, and the code, and blah blah blah. So I get to this house. It's 1 a.m, and dude, I've like literally just a backpack. Okay, I've been
picturing
traveling.
you.
Yeah,
just getting out
no,
the
dude.
airport,
You,
like, I'm
okay.
just going to a random house.
I'll send
in
you a
random
photo.
country.
I'll send you a photo that you can put up.
We'll throw
when
it
I'm
on the
telling
screen.
story. I've got like this beard, and my hair's just starting to grow. I think, yeah, anyhow, yeah, I did not
Sick.
look the most savory of people, but I am. But I show up at the house. It's 1 a.m. I'll open the door, and there's like these 2 big fucking animals, like dogs, pit bulls. I don't fucking know, Dobermans. It was dark as fuck. They just start running up at me, and the whole front foyer is a complete mess. And I'm like, okay. And then the person had messaged me saying like, hey, there's towels on your bed, and the bed, and go in the room, make a left, whatever. So I go in the room, open the door, and I see literally just a towel on a bed. And I look at this mattress. There's no pillows, and there's just like laundry, like all like at the front of it. It's almost like there was a bed put in the middle of the room on like the weirdest little platform, and the walls didn't go all the way to the back. So there was like a walkway that basically went the whole length of the apartment. And I kind of looked over, and I saw this, and I looked left, and I looked right, and it's just laundry the whole fucking way, just clothes everywhere. And I look to the right, and I can see the light in the master. And I look down the hall, and it's like, I see the master, the light's on, they're in their bed but passed out, but the mirror is set on an angle where you could see them in bed. And then I'm just looking, I'm like, okay, so I feel like I might get killed. They're naked in their bed, I can see this. The mirror's on them so that I can see this. The place is a filthy mess. Like I said, they could walk to my, like even if I closed my door, they could still get to my room. I literally went in the bathroom, washed my face real quick because I'd been traveling all night in the plane, gathered my stuff, and fucked off. It's now like 1:15 in the morning. I'm in the middle of my first night in the country, looking for a taxi, an Uber, whatever, to get me to a different hostel. I got in the cab. I said, "Take me to a
Bad
hostel.
vibes, yeah.
I don't care where. I just need to get to. I need to sleep." And he took me to a hostel. It was a bit expensive. I didn't give a shit. The vibe I felt in me, I was gonna get raped and murdered.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's not that sketchy.
That's
Well,
Wow.
if the actual outcome was correct,
mean,
then yeah, that's pretty sketchy.
I definitely didn't stay. So
I think he just had good instincts, and that kept it from being sketchy.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think that you're gonna get killed at the house that you're staying at, that's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Why-
should-
Why wouldn't you name the country though? Like, why?
because that don't matter.
Okay, well, can we play a game real quick?
Okay.
Can you
What
give us
continent?
the go-to food in that country?
No.
Mexico.
Mexico.
He was in Mexico. He was in Mexico.
I've not ever
I've
been
been
to
to the same house.
I can. My cousin.
That was me passed out naked.
I've actually not been to Mexico besides being in the airport. This is the only time I've been to
Probably the
Mexico.
worst part of Mexico, dude. I think
The
that was,
airport?
yeah, dude.
I
So-
think some people would beg to differ.
Okay. For me, it's the worst first impression. So when I first moved to Mexico, and going back to the whole traveling thing, I hated it when I was growing up. Because by 16, I lived in 4 different countries. So you
Yeah.
could imagine how many times I've changed schools, friends I've said goodbye to, all that shit. Now that I look back at it, it was like the best experiences in my life.
Absolutely.
Because I've grown up and I've learned to love those experiences. But when I first flew into Mexico, I flew into Mexico City, and the stench, it's just something around that airport. It's not the best living area there. Right at 5 minutes after you leave the airport, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But that first impression, you get in an airport, it smells like terrible. Like
Really?
absolutely terrible.
See, when you go to, have either of you guys been to Bali?
No.
Bali and Thailand for me, because it's like my favorite place in the world is Southeast Asia. But both of those countries have a wonderful scent. Like in Bali, it's incense.
Really?
It is. It's like when you land, it just I'm back. Like,
Really?
it's so good for me. It's just so amazing. I burn incense every single day at home.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
on my patio or like in my house, no matter. Like it's burning every day.
Right.
But both Thailand and Bali for me, like the smell when I arrive, and it's not a bad smell. It's a good smell. It just.
So that's huge though.
Yeah,
Like smell,
yeah.
that first impression is huge. When I moved in, I was like, God damn, bro. Just smell like a dump. It
Really?
literally smelled like the dump, and I was like, fuck. This is where I'm at.
I'm still gonna go and visit Mexico. It's still on my
Yeah,
list of
shout out to
places
Mexico.
go.
We fuck
Probably
with
one
you
of the
guys.
best places I've lived.
Yeah.
I have
All right.
nothing bad. Some of the
Yeah, you
most
really
amazing.
sold us.
Go there, just don't
All
go
I'm
there by
saying-
plane.
Just don't let the airport smell dictate like
The rest of the
rest of your
experience.
trip.
And that's
good.
just in the city, and
Wear-
it's
wear
still
a
like
mask.
that. But
Yeah.
you know what though? I flew back in 2018. My boy Crazy Mike, shout out Crazy.
Shout out
Mike,
Crazy Mike.
And I smelled the airport, and I was like, I'm home. I'm fucking home. And like
So it's
so
a bad but a good smell.
Yeah.
That's funny as fuck. All right. Well, I'm really happy with that. I think we had some productive conversations. I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I should have. I didn't realize how. I hope there's some people out there who are interested in starting a podcast or doing something with a podcast, because I think that was a good majority of what we talked about today. But I also want to say that I think it's the points that were made are relatable on a broader spectrum than just podcasting. You know, I think that it's kind of based on, you and I both look at, all three of us look at this as a career opportunity. You know, I think we all take it as serious as if it was our career, even if it's not paying our bills right now. And so that's why we talk about it so passionately and analyze it so deeply. And I think that the points that were made today, even if we were pertaining them to our podcasts in particular, can be applied to a much broader range of things, like whatever career it is the people watching do, or how they go about their delegation of extracurricular activities outside of their career. So I hope you guys, interpret it that way, and if nothing else, just enjoyed the conversation. And Chef,
Yes.
I want to thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
I want to thank you for having me on your platform as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm certain this won't be the last time we have you on here, because, like I was saying during our break, you're extremely easy to talk to.
Thank you.
I admire a lot of the points that you make and the perspective that you have on life. And I thank you for coming on here and sharing
My
that with
pleasure,
us.
man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I just bought a third mic, headset, boom arm, and everything.
Okay.
So we have to get Nick on
Yep.
and Kevin on.
Hell yeah.
And we'll just keep doing this back and forth. We'll just keep collaborating, because that's
love
what
it.
life's about. Everyone out there is helping each other succeed, and that's what we're doing.
I would love that.
100%.
We said it from the first time I was on your show, and we just keep doing it. So
I would
why
love
Yeah,
not?
man, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll put all your links in the description for you personally,
Absolutely.
and as well as Life Choices. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we tune
just
out?
Real simple. The Life Choices podcast goes up on YouTube every Tuesday at 2 p.m. for now. Just come on by, give a comment, subscribe, like. If you like what they're doing here on Millennial Mentality, you'll probably like what we're doing on the Life Choices podcast.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Cool, man.
All right.
Well, again, thank you so much, and this will not be the last you see of Chef Bradley David.
All right. Thanks.
Peace.
But I been outside getting money, I'm on my thug again. Tryna stack a little dub, tryna catch a win. And next time I drop a coupe, it's gonna be a twin turbo. Always been a G, but I ain't never been a herb though. Way I'm switching lanes, this shit